Hello, Paula.
Hi, Monica.
Welcome.
Hi, friends.
And neighbors. Today we're going to talk
About beauty.
We have some thoughts about beauty. Paula, what is beauty?
For me, it's ever evolving. I love the experience of beauty. I look for it, I cultivate. I feel like it's something I cultivate because it's important to my daily being. Makes me feel good, makes me appreciate my surroundings, people, places, things, makes me feel alive. I need it.
You said experience beauty, not like witness or take in, but experience beauty, which seems more like an action verb.
I like cultivating. I like having a practice. It feels like a practice of beauty, a practice of paying attention to things, a practice of appreciating and to witness your surroundings so that you can have a relationship, be in relationship. Makes me feel good. I don't know. It's all about just like grounding.
And can I ask another question for our viewers? What is your calling, and how does that impact your relationship with beauty?
You mean okay. So I'm an artist. I don't like to say that. It feels so funny. But I am. I photograph analog. And it's a practice of looking and being and sitting with, for me, sitting with my surroundings and trying to sync myself with what I'm seeing. And it's almost like tasting and imbibing your surroundings. I feel like it's a good exercise to awaken myself to the experiences of life. It's like food.
Awesome. I love the tasting thing. I smiled when you said that because I was just like, she's like putting all of her, every primary sense is kind of getting their grippers on beauty. So Paula is by nature an artist, a seer, a photographer. I, by nature, I would argue that everyone by nature maybe is a little bit of both. And training, am a scientist, a molecular geneticist. And I would say that a lot of what you described about seeing and being in relationship is what really gets me going about science. So imagine, if you will, being alone in the tissue culture room, and you're opening a incubator door. This is my little Legoland. This is a Lego. Isn't it cute?
That works for me.
This is a tissue culture lab. And imagine being alone and you open the incubator. It is at the perfect temperature. It's nice and warm for your little cells. And you take them out and it smells like life. Both and when I say it smells like life, I mean it's all of the nutritional goodies, but also waste products. You can tell the health of your cells just by a little whiff.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That's cool.
Isn't it though? And a little look-see, because there's a pH indicator in the fluid that the cells are bathing in. So you take this petri dish over to the microscope. That's what these little red things are. So the red disc is like a little petri dish. They're usually like 6 centimeters, 10 centimeters, 15 centimeters in diameter, and they're filled with fluid that bathes and washes over the cells, either adherent cells that stick to the bottom of the petri dish, or floaty cells that are more like blood cells. And then you look at them under the microscope and it's just you. You're the only one in this little room. And you're focusing up and down and you're seeing the shape of these cells. And like it came from somebody's DNA is still operating within that cell, providing it nutrition and expressing genes and sending signals and pathways, and it's so beautiful, and they kind of look a little translucent.
Can you see movement?
For the cells that aren't adherent, you could shake them a little bit and then they'll go back and forth a little. But there are these cells that are, when they are adherent, sometimes they make like little podocytes, philopodia. They stretch out their little tentacles, and they have this relationship with one another where when they bump into each other, they're like, "Oh, excuse me," and then they'll stop growing most of the time. That's contact inhibition. But it's so beautiful. That is beautiful. And I am imagining that when you see something, you're just like, this must be photographed. That it's a little like my moments in tissue culture where I'm just like, but at the same time, like these precious moments, nobody else is like, you have to document them if you're wanting to get published. You have to write things down and say what you're observing, but it's all of your senses. And it is such a moment. It is beauty. I talk to myself.
Do you feel like you're connecting beyond yourself?
Oh, yes.
So do I.
Do you know those times? So Paula and I are neighbors. We have bonfires sometimes. And sometimes, even in St. Paul, Minnesota, you look up and you can see the stars. And it feels so like you're connected to everything and also simultaneously insignificant. And that tension is the kind of beauty that I feel here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thoughts?
For me, the tension is in the singularity of that moment and wanting to, for me, harness and learn from it and kind of turn it around and see, trying to make meaning is a part of it for me.
So you said something about solitary, but also you're able to share with your own spin, your own angle, your own. We focus in different ways, but and put both as you're taking the shot, but also post production, put your flavor of beauty and what it is that you saw. So, how much is sharing a part of the experience? And I'll put the tissue culture.
It is part of the experience, and one that is a little fraught sometimes with how it might be received, or for right now, for me, it's a pretty singular endeavor. I don't show my work a lot. I enjoy I shouldn't say just, I enjoy the process. It's a process, it's a practice, and I'm stumbling because it's like, oh, the sharing part of it. I think that's where it gets a little bit more tricky for me, because you don't know how other people are going to see what you see. And, everyone sees beauty differently. And that's the thing that fascinates me as well is, well, this is what I'm seeing and I'm feeling and digesting it and in this way. And then,
So, I'm going to bring in something. When you're a scientist, I think you have to have the self-generating motivation that it can be a singular endeavor, and you'd be okay with that. Because if you're doing it for the commendation of others, you're putting your ego into something that is supposed to stand alone and stand or fall on its own merits. And that is a molestation of science and beauty. And when you do that, in my opinion, you are disobeying the rules of holding a question, waiting for observation and response. You're like kind of putting demands on it. And that's when scientists become ugly people. that's anti-beauty. That's ugly. I once heard a scientist speak at a conference, and it was a little tiny conference, and he said, I once was insulted by somebody. They said, oh, that guy, he's only had one good idea in his whole life, and he's like, one good idea. That's pretty good.
it only takes one good idea. That's what it's about. It's about the idea. It's not about the person.
And also, should we be so lucky? There's a lot of people on this planet. Let's share a good idea. Let's share beauty. Let's share something. And also, God, who owns this? I have been at symposia where people I discovered. It's like, yeah, stick a flag in it, Columbus. You absolutely did discover that. It is not yours. You got to witness it, and lucky you, but you do not own it.
Nope. It's not about owning. I can't say it enough. It is not about that at all. At all. Beauty is ever evolving. It's an energy.
Pay attention. Be aware. be observant with all your senses. And then maybe you'll get to witness one good thing.
And let it grow.
By sharing it. I like it.
Ideally.
Good session.
They're so different every time.
Every time.
That's why I love talking to you, because it's just like, okay.
All right. Okay, let's move, groove, doing it. See what we're going to do. Alrighty, that's a wrap.